As it relates to the issue of education and the curriculum, we said that there is a need for a curriculum reform or redevelopment. Young people need to be educated in innovative areas. The curriculum need to be more holistic, and at the primary stages focus should be placed on perfecting the basis at the primary level. In other words, what we're saying is that we promote it more towards the academic achievement and so. And as it relates to entrepreneurship, it needs to start at a much lower level in terms of that building awareness and so. So we need to place a lot of emphasis at that age in terms of the curriculum development on the basics in terms of numeracy and literacy in this regard. We need to build an entrepreneurship culture at the early stage. This will instill skills in the young people to be equipped to operate their own businesses and to have an entrepreneurial spirit. Again, everybody thinks that government could employ everybody, and that reality wouldn't happen. And so we need to build that kind of entrepreneurship culture at an early stage. We know that the JA program and other such programs are in that direction, but what was reported is that it is almost too late because they just basically do it as part of a competition, and the skill set is not being transferred on into private sector. So we need to start at an earlier age with the basic things of budgeting, basic things of understanding a business concept, and things related to that, so that you build that kind of an entrepreneurial spirit at an early age. They need to be more involved in community-based organization. This thought was also related to the JA program was mainly focused on the schools, but there's a pushback from government. They have not been providing the kind of support that is required. And as such, the idea is to try and link up with community-based organization, the private schools, so that you can begin to develop that culture and that scope, so that, again, you have a lot more persons thinking about entrepreneurship in this regard. Right. In terms of skills development, engagement with employers and the skills needs to inform curriculum development, scholarship, and training initiative. Again, do we know what the private sector need? Do we know what our business managers need? And as such, there is need to have this kind of dialogue with our employers to know what are they missing, what are the gaps that is involved, so that in terms of designing programs and so, we could have an idea, government and others who would be providing that kind of service, so that that can be provided in this regard. Also, as it relates to scholarship and training initiative, we felt that this scholarship program is not well targeted. It is basically grabbing as to what is being offered from different agencies and so, and there's a need to continue to revise the offerings and so. So we felt that, again, this need to be reviewed on a timely basis. Training with a purpose. Persons should be trained and educated to meet the market needs. Point that is rolled into this one. Again, not just focused on the academics, but focused on what kind of skill set that our market would require. We made mention of the fact that about 3 years ago, studies were done by the Ministry of Labor, and that information, we don't know what became of it, and there was some other initiative that was done, but again, we do all these studies, we get all this information, it points to what we need to do, and then we hear nothing about it thereafter. And of course, we spend good money also on consultancy, so we need to take this information and begin to work with it. Apprenticeship program, as it relates to exchange to neighboring islands or regional organizations to develop the expertise of individuals, secondment, internship. This point was made as it relates to the whole issue of apprenticeship program, not what the Imani program is doing currently. It is basically making a mockery of apprenticeship, if I may say so. What we're saying in this regard is that genuine apprenticeship program, where or people who are moving in that particular direction need to have that kind of attachment with the institution, so that they get this hands-on experience, they get the working environment, they learn the dynamics of what is happening there so that they could utilize the skills so that when they come to you and not they're presenting themselves as being skilled, but the next question is, do you have experience? How do they get the experience if we didn't give them that opportunity? And so we say it in this regard, also too as it relates to exchange with our regional organization and such programs, so that again, it brings value to the whole issue of entrepreneurship and apprenticeship, in this regard. All right, government scholarships should be focused on key priority areas for development and needs of Grenada. I somewhat made the point earlier on as it relates to revamping or reviewing how we accept these scholarship programs and what is the focus and what is the direction. Not because Cuba is offering so much in terms of medical and so, which we need, but again, how much of that are being really utilized? How much of our people that would have gone through the scholarship program have been coming back? And in some cases, we highlighted the fact that sometimes when our own government send these persons off to training and with the expectation that they would come and they would get some form of employment, and in many cases too, they are bonded, they have nothing to do, and yet they're bonded and they cannot perform. The government list should be updated periodically to ensure that it reflects accurately the current needs or future needs of the country. Again, that point is made in terms of what really is our development plan? What is the focus? Do we know, as we are working currently on the 2030 development plan, what would be the needs in terms of our skills person in management, or skills persons in terms of plumbing and electrical engineering and all these kind of areas, and so how does that tie into our development needs? So again, we need to have this plan and what are the other tenets as it relates to our academic performance or basically our human resource development needs to be able to factor in and to get this plan going, develop as we worked on it. Scholarship, data and documentation. There needs to be more information and knowledge sharing, as this is limited, as there is limited access to data from research or even limited access to basic information from statistical office or organization. We made that point again earlier on that we have a lot of documentation, a lot of studies being done, but again, the information is not disseminated in a manner that all of us could get that information and to be able to work with that kind of information. We also made the point that it is not part of our culture as it relates to documentation. If we are going to be doing our projects, we need baseline data. Yeah? How do we monitor later on? How do we know that the program is successful if we did not have basic baseline data that would inform us as to the progress that we have made? So data is important, but data to be able to package it in such a way that it could be used for our own monitoring and evaluation and to track progress in this regard. We also say for better performance measures, resources will be helped with monitoring and evaluation. I made that point, yes. Public education awareness. There should be a revision of the school curriculum at the primary, secondary, and tertiary level. We made that point already. Our population need to be educated on the opportunities that are available for development of our young people. And again, we're saying that there's huge opportunities in the theater, in this kind of area, music, dancing, performing arts, documentation, even movies, We see, developed countries and others are making movies within our Caribbean region. And in fact, I think that one or two shots were made for one or two movies from Grenada, but there's an opportunity in this regard. So we need to let our young people, let our people know that there are opportunities in these areas that we tend not to push. In fact, I was making the point that I have a colleague of mine that is on one of these cruise ships, and he's playing music, and he's making a lot of money. But it's not an area that he would have been pushed into. He's just basically out of an interest, and then he got an opportunity. So we need to expose our young people to these other alternative areas for development.